Hello and welcome to Jennifer Knatters, my knitting and nattering podcast. Today is Sunday, the 3rd of February. Normally I try to record earlier in the week. That has not happened this week. Unfortunately, Kitten, my older child, has been home poorly most of the week, and the younger one does not want to take naps when the older one's at school, or not at school. And yeah, even when Kitten has gone to school, it just hasn't been happening. So I'm here today. That's the important thing. And I'm very excited this week because I have a finished object I've been dying to tell you about. We'll get to that in just a moment. First, a little cute thing. I finally made a pom-pom to go on my Hillhead hat. And this is just out, I can't even, there we go, just out of the same wool. The pattern suggests using a contrast color for the brim, and I think the contrast color is for the pom-pom as well. I just used my largest pom-pom maker. Kitten wanted to make some pom-poms, so I finally got wool out, and she made some for her to play with. And I made this one. I have just tied it on through a button. Nothing fancy. It will not last forever. But that way I can take it off if I want to wash my hat. And I can easily tighten it up. I have not spent a lot of time trimming my pom-pom. It is not perfectly symmetrical. It is very soft and smushy and full. So I feel I did a good job. Now I've made it kind of even more lopsided, but it is a lot of fun. I am kind of a latecomer to the pom-pom wars. Some people love pom-poms and can't get enough of them. I can take them or leave them, but this one is making me very happy. So yeah, finally added a pom-pom. Very glad I did. I still have just a tiny bit left of the blue. So got a little more of that, and my finished object that I'm very excited to tell you about. I've worn it so many times this week hoping to do my podcast. I am all out of shirts that even vaguely, remotely, even slightly go with it. But I have finished my vest. So much vest. It is still huge. I really should have knit even a size smaller than I did, and it would probably still have positive ease, which is to say it would be slightly bigger than my measurements, or maybe it would be a bit fitted. I was hoping it would be a bit fitted through the bust and possibly the hips and then loose between. No, it is huge. It is enormous. It is, but it fits. I mean, it fits. It's just a very relaxed fit. And yeah, it is absolutely gorgeous. Look at those colors. I have a lot of wool left over. You can see, show you a bit of the inside of the steeks. This is just the back where I picked it up. Over here we've got where I cut the yarn apart. It's unraveling slightly. I did not do anything to secure it. This is sticky wool. It will not unravel to the point where the neck bands come off. They'll felt together, especially with wear. And since I plan on wearing this a lot, it will be just fine. It'll all felt together. Here's where I cut off a bit to make it a smaller size. Could have gone down even another size. Yeah, I finished that and I'm super happy. I've been wearing it a lot. I have realized that for myself, it's a bit busy. I don't think I will be making another all over Fair Isle stranded colorwork vest for me, but I could do other kind of vests. I can knit them for other people. It's a lot of fun to knit. It's a lot of fun to have. I will very much enjoy wearing it to knitting festivals and stuff to show off my beautiful project. So yeah, I can finally tell you about that one. And then on the subject of works in progress, I have been working on my hat, my Tarradale hat by Emily K. Williams, Flutter by Designs. And this is from the Milarrochy Tweed, the hat using Milarrochy Tweed, which I guess is Milarrochy Heights. I know how to pronounce it in my head, and then I go to say it here on the podcast, and my brain falls out. The orange stitch marker is where it was last time I showed you. I haven't shown it to you, I think, for a little bit. So I've made some good progress. It's very slow. Like, I posted a picture 2 nights ago of how far I'd gotten, and I was at the bottom of this purple snowflake. And then in the morning I realized I'd knit the purple snowflake. I guess it was this line. I knit the purple snowflake all the way over, so you can see these loose stitches here. I just dropped down the color. I wasn't making the snowflake step in. Anyway, that took up most of yesterday, but I've made it past the halfway mark. That square right there is the halfway mark. Over here you can see I am past that in the pattern. And once I'm done with the snowflakes, it's just the brim, I think. I don't think there's a lot of room. I read ahead, but that information never stays. It's all in one eyeball, out the other, as it were. But yeah, it's coming along. And then the other side, it'll be fully reversible. So yeah, I would like to finish this one. I've been working on that one pretty exclusively. My children have not been going to bed at night, especially the little one. So I have not had, after everybody's asleep, time to knit. I have not had nap time to knit. I have not been having a great knitting week. I finished the vest last weekend. I did the podcast, and then I finished the vest like the next day or the day after. Excuse me. I guess it was Saturday night. I think I did my video on Friday, and then I finished it on Saturday. Like, Catherine fell asleep. I put it on to soak and then took Catherine to bed, and then once she finally fell asleep, I came out and spun it in the washing machine, just on a spin cycle to get the extra water out, and draped it over a radiator to dry. When she woke up in the middle of the night to nurse, I got up and flipped it over to make sure it would dry on the other side so I could wear it to church on Sunday last week. Did not get a single compliment. I don't know. The other one, I haven't really worked on this much, although I think when I showed it to you, I was on the gold, and now I'm on to the blue. This is the first of many rows of blue, including, I believe, the next color. There's a navy, and then there's another medium blue, and the medium blue is going to be the widest chunk. All of these other rows are 2, 4, or 6 rows. Well, suppose the cast on edge is technically cast on and then 5, but 6 total. So 6, 4, 6, 2, 6, 2, 4, 2. That's a 4 row. Anyway, they're all 6, 2, or 4. There's going to be one color where it's 26. So that'll be the main width of the scarf, will be that one blue. But from here on out, it's all blue, and then one more row of the fuchsia, which I think is this darker pink. This was the cerise, this is the fuchsia, or the other way around. I think this one's fuchsia and this one's cerise. We'll find out when I get there. But yeah, I have not particularly worked on this one because I was working on my vest. Although the vest I was at the point where I had to pick up the neckband and sew them off and stuff like that. So it wasn't really something I could work on unless I could just sit and do it. So this was what I was working on. So I was just trying to straighten my yarn. This is what I was working on between times, and so I haven't really worked on it other than that. Since I finished that project, I've mostly been working on my hat. I did also start a shawl, which I don't have to show just now. It's going to be a cowl shawl where it's a lot of fabric. It's like a shawl, but instead of having to tie the ends in the back, it's all knit together, which is the style I like best. And I left that in the room where Catherine is napping. I have almost got to the point where I'm going to turn the heel on my socks, which I should probably do, so that can be my walking around project again. But again, that's, since it is my going out project, it is in the pram. Catherine is sleeping in the pram. I take her for a push to get her to take her nap. Otherwise, she falls asleep on me, and I cannot shift her. I just have to sit there and hold her till she wakes up. Or she wakes up and cries and wants to nurse again and cuddle more. And anyway, so yeah, those two projects are in the other room, but I'll show you another day. And the yarn for the shawl one is a new acquisition. Helen of Ripple's Craft said she is discontinuing the sport weight, which is one of my favorite yarns, her merino sport weight. It is so soft and lovely. I have knit many a baby jumper for my little ones out of it, and I'm very sad it's going away. I do have enough to knit a jumper for myself, for Catherine, and for Kitten. I have 3 jumper quantities, slightly different colors, so I can knit us each a jumper using that yarn, but I do not, I'm sad it's going away. So if she says people haven't been buying it a lot, I have not, because I have some in stash. I've also got several smaller skeins that are meant to be hats or accessories and stuff. Not smaller skeins, just one-off skeins that are meant to be hats and stuff. So I have it. I have not been buying a lot of it because I have it. So I should probably get around to knitting it. But when she said it was going away, I went and I picked out a very pretty kind of oil slick kind of color. A muted oil slick. So that's what I'm knitting the shawl, because I would like to have something right up by my neck to be cozy with. Something that, unlike the baby blanket, or not baby blankets, baby jumpers, that'll get a lot of use. So yeah, there's that. But I don't have that to show you, so I will tell you all about it again next week. Hopefully I'll have made some progress on it. But I got it and I'm like, oh, I want to cast it on. And I'd had a pattern in mind for it. But it turns out it was more of a standard cowl rather than kind of the cowlette, as people say, to blend shawl and cowl together. A shawlette and a cowl. I thought it was more that style pattern, but it's just kind of a drapey funnel. Excuse me, which isn't quite what I had in mind. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll do it anyway, but I swatched for it and my swatch was way off. So I had started another one and then I'm like, well, maybe I'll do this other thing instead. So I ripped it out and then I went back to kind of the one not the one I'd had in mind, but the one where I said, oh, well, I need to find something else. And, it's got a bit of a feather and fan or old shale lace pattern, and we'll see how it goes. So yeah, I lost one whole day to faffing around with that, trying to decide what I was going to do. But I don't have it to show you, so you'll just have to take my word for it. And I think that's just about it for knitting. The Knit Now magazine I talked about last week, I said was out on Thursday. It's actually out this past, I must have done it earlier in the week than Friday, my podcast, because it wasn't out that Thursday, it was out this last Thursday, but it is out now. I got it a full week earlier than the release date, which normally I kind of just get it a couple days early, my subscription copy. But it does have, I'd said, that really nice supplement magazine on wardrobe staple cardigans and pullovers, and how to knit one to your gauge and your measurements, just plug and play numbers. So it's really, really useful. I highly recommend picking it up. I like the magazine in general, but that supplement in particular is a really nice one. So yeah, on the home front, Kitten has not been feeling well this week. She hadn't been feeling well the other week, and we eventually even took her to the doctor, and they kind of concluded, because we thought she had an infection. We got her antibiotics and it didn't, like, she was still acting poorly and all this stuff, and so we took her back to the doctor. I was like, well, yeah, no, psychosomatic, which is kind of where we were, and so he gave us a plan for dealing with that, and then she was better by the following weekend, which was her birthday, which went really well, actually. We had 10 other kids over, which was 9 of her friends, and then one of her friends, the mom had walked over with her other child who she picked up from nursery, her younger child, and he was like, no, I don't want to go. And I said, that's fine. We have a very big house. There's plenty of room, lots of food. Of course you may stay and play, because Kitten and her friends largely stayed in her bedroom. So I pointed him to what we refer to as the sofa bedroom, because it has a fold-out sofa bed in it. But it's really at this point just the main toy room, which I have really been enjoying. I mean, it was supposed to be my craft room, but it was half full of toys and half full of crafts. I moved most of my craft stuff out and really filled it with toys, and now Kitten and Catherine can kind of go in there, and then when they play with the toys, that room might be a whole exploded toy room, but our lounge isn't. And that has been really nice. Catherine is just getting old enough where the house doesn't have to be quite as baby-proofed. A lot of the stuff that we'd put away or put up out of her reach, I'd say about half of it can come back down. The things where we didn't want her swallowing it, that stuff can come down. Things we put out of reach so she wouldn't break them, not so much, but so I've been able to get out like some of I had a little mini bookshelf that had tubs in it, and I've been able to get that out again. She's not climbing it, and fill it with some of the smaller little toys that I kind of all just dumped in a big box and put higher up that she couldn't reach, although she can now reach that box. So, but I was able to sort out the toys and put them out. So this room has that, and it's got the what we call racetrack puzzles, which is the Logitech Toot Toots, where it's kind of got the puzzle ends, the male and female puzzle ends, and you clip them together and you can make different roads. We've also got a train set in that, and the Duplo is in there, the wooden train tracks are in there, the Happy Land houses and dolls are in there. There's a lot of toys in that room. Random action figures for various fandoms are in there. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of little toy cars are in there. So he was able to stay and play with those. And some of the other kids would wander through occasionally, but it was really nice. I would say the thing that worked best for her birthday party was I put out bowls of food when the kids arrived that were the healthy is kind of too strong of a word. Mini sausages, cheese sticks, tubes of yogurt, packets of cheesy crackers, fruit. I had vegetables to cut up, but I didn't get around to cutting them up. Juices, so that kind of stuff. I put it out, and only when that food was mostly gone did I put out biscuits and sweeties and stuff like that. So if the kids were hungry, the only option was the healthier food. and then they could have candy as a layer on top of that. Whereas I think if you put them both out at the same time, they'll go to the biscuits and the candies and stuff like that, and they don't necessarily eat the healthier food. So I'd say that's the bit that went best. And while the party was going on, I made cupcakes. And I had bought paper cupcake cases in a rainbow of colors. They weren't rainbowed. They were each a solid color. And so I did 2 cupcakes in each color. And then I wound up making 2 batches, so there'd be more cupcakes, but they were each in a thing. And unfortunately, the color Kitten wanted, someone else had already grabbed. And then when I put the icing out, I didn't give her her favorite color to start with because I was just kind of putting them around. So I think next year I would pick 1 or 2 colors. Although one of the little girls' favorite color is orange, so she was very excited that she actually got to have an orange cupcake paper. Because I guess if I picked 2 colors, orange wouldn't have been one of them. But anyway, I would have done fewer colors and more of them so that everyone who wanted one could have their favorite color of the choice. So that's the one thing that didn't go, and more bowls of icing, so I could put, again, fewer colors, more bowls of each color. Yeah, but the kids, I think, really enjoyed icing their own cupcakes. And then they got to take them home or eat them as they pleased. I was surprised there were several children who specifically wanted to take theirs home and have it after their dinner. So some kids do prefer to wait. One little boy took his cupcake and ran off with it so fast. Like, he took his cupcake, unpeeled it, and then basically just shoved it in his mouth. So he didn't even know there was an option to ice the cupcakes until his mom came to get him, and he saw some of the kids had the iced cupcakes to take home with them. He was like, "Wait, I need another cupcake so I can ice it." And his mom was like, "No." I would have given him one. But his mom was like, "No." I mean, he really did. While I brought the cupcakes out and I went back to get the icing, and he had already eaten his cupcake. So yeah, I guess he was very excited about cupcakes. But the party went really well. And then Christina had gotten a gift card and some money from 2 different people. So I told her that we could go, just her and me, we could go into town on Sunday to go to church and then go spend it, although it turns out the toy store is closed on Sundays. But she still found something to buy. Only it turns out she wasn't feeling well, and she didn't tell me because she still wanted to go in town and buy toys. But she wound up being sick later that evening after we'd gotten home. And so I basically tucked her into bed, and then she was sick once again before bedtime. She ate some crackers, and then they came back. So I kept her home from school Monday, and she napped, but otherwise, like, she didn't have a fever. She ate a little bit of food, kept it down, and was fine. They do say you should keep a kid home 48 hours after the last incident, but if it's a tummy bug, yes. If it's just overexcitement, which is what I thought we were kind of dealing with, then I don't think 48 hours is strictly required. So we send her to school on Tuesday, which is also house cleaner day. And then when I went to pick her up, I had been just a tiny bit late, and she was basically collapsed in a heap against the wall. Like, oh, I'm so... And it turns out that while she was at school that day, she'd had a bit of diarrhea, and I guess she didn't know that if something like that happens, you should go tell the teacher and say, I'm not feeling well. and that we would have come and got her, like they would have sent her home. So we had that conversation, and then so she was home Wednesday, and again Thursday, and she'd been feeling better, and Thursday everything was normal again. So we let her go to swimming practice that night, and then sent her to school Friday, mostly because if she stayed home the whole weekend, I don't know. We sent her to school Friday kind of just to get her back into going to school and get her homework, and so she could see her friends and have a little normalcy in the day. And that because Catherine missed her activities during the week as well. She didn't get to go to her Monday thing or her Thursday thing. So Catherine could do her Friday thing, which is her gymnastics class. And she was fine. She cried a lot in the morning about not wanting to go to school. She wanted to stay home, but she'd been playing a lot. Like Tuesday and Wednesday, she'd been a bit droopy, but Thursday she woke up and she was running around and blah, blah, blah. And we're like, no, you're well enough to go to school. And she did fine. She said she did fine. She ate her lunch. Her tummy wasn't hurting. So that was better. But she's still not eating a ton. Today she's doing a little better. Yesterday even was kind of like, oh, please eat. Please eat. She's never been a good eater. But yeah. So that was my week. She has slept in my bed 3 nights this week, which Kitten hadn't been doing. She had been sleeping in her own bed really well. Last night she went to bed in her own bed, and then like half an hour later got up and came and joined us. The other 2 times she slept in my bed because she'd fallen asleep in there earlier. Like she'd gone in at 5-ish and fallen asleep, and so was still just there when I went to bed. But last night she came and joined us, and I'm like, no, we're not doing that again. You stay in your own bed, because Catherine does not sleep well, and then Kitten doesn't get to sleep because Catherine is yelling and kicking and wiggling and squirming and all the things that Catherine does so that she won't fall asleep. So yeah, hopefully, touch wood, next week will be a better week, and I will talk to you then. Okay, thank you. Bye.